Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And thank you to Administrator Power for being with us today. I'm going to start with a general question. Investments in global health research and development not only help the United States develop innovative solutions to global health challenges across the world, but also invest dollars back into the American private sector and to research institutions alike. In New Jersey alone, over $1.5 billion has been invested into research institutions and nearly 20,000 new jobs have been created. What specific programs in global health generate R&D investments in U.S. Industry and also in research institutions?
I would just, since we're coming out not that long ago from COVID, take note of the 700 million vaccines that were made here, purchased by the United States and given away for free. Huge soft power in that, but also that's American companies and workers are benefiting from that. I think we see, I think about it, of course, from the standpoint of protecting, the health and safety of Americans by investing in surveillance and labs and the like. But a lot of the research partnerships that the United States, that USAID has with American universities also are not only on, seeds and agriculture-related innovation, but also in the health sector. And I'm happy to have Atul Gawande come and brief you on the specifics if you'd like.
I'd appreciate that.
Thank you.
Regarding Ukraine, the United States has provided $22.9 billion in direct budget to help Ukraine meet the emergency needs of its citizens. What kind of oversight procedures are in place to ensure that this assistance is not subject to waste, fraud, and abuse?
Very extensive. We started very early on when this direct budget support began to flow, which is provided only for verified expenditures through the West Bank. So those expenditures have to be verified before the money flows. It's not like you hand over a check for $1 billion every month and it goes from there. But we brought Deloitte on in order to do spot checks across the various ministries that were receiving these funds. The funds, of course, going to first responders, to teachers, to health workers and health services. We have just done a big open source contract, awarded a contract, I should say, to KPMG to do an audit of all of the direct budget support. OIG our Inspector General has significantly ramped up the staff working on oversight, specifically of direct budget support, including in Kyiv.
Has USAID begun to implement OIG's recommendation calling for an action plan to verify the accuracy of expenditure reports for healthcare workers?
Yes, and thank you for mentioning that. Notwithstanding the title of the report, actually in the report itself, it talks about the remedial steps that USAID has already taken to address what amounted to, I don't want to call it clerical errors, but errors in how we were actually verifying or gaps, let me put it that way, in how we were doing the verification on salaries specifically. But as soon as that was brought to our attention, it is something we smothered and addressed, which the report testifies to.
Okay. And all U.S. provided DBS to Ukraine has been in the form of grants.
Correct.
And why has USAID not structured its direct budget support to Ukraine as loans?
I'd say two main reasons. One, given Ukraine's budget challenges in light of Putin's aggression, the cost of $1 of a loan is likely to be somewhere between 80 cents and $1. So the benefit for the taxpayer.
But if it was forgivable, for example.
But would come, say that again?
If it was forgivable.
If it was.
As other, as many European Union nations, when they do their direct budget,
so then,
they're forgivable from the very beginning.
Correct, and the way the Europeans have structured them again is almost low interest and multi years into the future payment recycles. But the second reason is that programs like the nearly $16 billion IMF program are contingent on a certain amount of capital and liquidity in Ukraine itself, and that IMF investment, which was very unusual for the IMF to operate in a war zone at that scale, was also presumed the continuation, again, of the degree of liquidity that we and the Europeans and the Japanese and others have been able to provide. So I think there'd be significant shortcomings. Having said that, we have to get direct budget support to Ukraine. Our partners have front-loaded a lot of the assistance, still hoping that this vote is going to occur, still hoping that these resources are going to flow. And again, I think it's worth recalling, as you make this point so often, Putin is not only trying to take over Ukraine militarily, having failed to do that because of the courage of Ukrainians and the security assistance we've provided, he is trying to destroy the economy and the state. And that state going bankrupt, the morale consequences of having no teachers paid in schools or not being able to get health care because of Putin's aggression, the ripple effects of that and the gift to Putin of depriving Ukraine of those resources, it really can't be overstated.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
Yields